Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. Well, good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Now, I know I said 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. We are not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing more of a half-hour live show because, as you can see from my intro, the streaming is not fantastic, and I want to have a good product. And so we're only going to be doing half-hour shows. That's what we're doing. And we're going to be in and out of here. But guess what? It's going to be okay. We'll extend the show later. But thank you guys so much for joining me here on this Tell It All Tuesday. So I want to start out with our trending topics on X. Let me talk. Now there's protesters that clashed with agents at Newark ICE facility on Memorial Day. I don't know what it is. Because here's the thing, those facilities are to deport people, but give them a space. So if they have to have a hearing, they can go to the hearing. But a lot of these people and these individuals that are being deported have had deportation orders since like 2021 or 2022. And it's really, this is a wedge issue politically, and it's only getting worse. So advocates for about 300 detainees at the privately run ICE facility in Newark launched a hunger and labor strike around May 22nd over spoiled food, overcrowding, and poor medical care. DHS denies any hunger strike, insisting detainees get balanced meals and standard services, while accusing politicians of blocking transfers of serious criminals. Tensions peaked late May when protesters barricaded entrances with debris and cones. Agents cleared the way after warnings, and Senator Andy Kim stood between the lines and later called the scene shameful. Protests continue outside the facility with visitation suspended and Democrats pushing for investigations into conditions. I'm tired of this. These people are not in jail. They are in a space to get them deported because they already should have left because they already have deportation orders. That's who are at these facilities. And it needs to stop. They're not Americans. They're not. They are not. They are here illegally. If we were in a country illegally, we would get deported. There would be no questions asked. It would be over. And those people would not fight for us. Sam. So here is a little bit of the scene that happened in Newark, and it says anti-ICE terrorists. I wouldn't call them terrorists. I would call them anarchists. Are winning in Newark. DHS has now rolled over and is allowing every vehicle leaving their facility to be searched by leftists. This should never happen. It is illegal to stop any federal agent, and these are federal agents under DHS. It is called Title 18, Section 111. It is a violation to impede them from doing their job, and none of these people are going to prison. See, you wouldn't want me to be a DHS. Because first of all, I would have a list of people that you better turn over: mayors, governors, city officials. Because if you don't, you're going to federal prison. And any of these people out here, they'd have been in prison. There would have been no questions asked. Oh, you want to stop people from doing their job? Great. Title 18, Section 111. You're done. You're on camera. I got you. Facial recognition. I got you on camera doing all kind of craziness. You're going to prison. But see, that's me. That's where I'm at. That's how I get down. But let's check this out.
Lock arms. Somebody needs to record. We need to record in case there's violence. We're not holding. Yep.
Wait.
Let them out as long as we can make one thing. Absolutely.
Please, let's see.
It's good. Okay.
Right.
Make sure let him go. Okay.
Oh, let me tell them.
Empty.
You're amazing. Thank you.
This is impeding federal
Good.
agents from doing their job. Are you serious right now? The mob is ruling. The mob is ruling. This is a disgrace. And they're searching cars. They're not supposed to be. That's federal land right there that they're on. By the way, once you reach a certain point, that land belongs to the federal government. You're not supposed to be on it.
They always hide in their face. You ashamed, but people can find out your information by your license plate. Ambulance ain't gonna take a bunch of detainees.
We gotta take them, guys.
All right. Till next time.
Prison. All of these people right now, did you see? Prison.
They have to get the officers that's there watching.
Yeah, they wouldn't like me.
Fuck no.
They wouldn't.
How about they take people to the hospital? That's a lie. There's people in there talking about they don't get medical care shit. So, like, what you mean?
They do get medical care. You don't know because you don't work there, so stop making stuff up. It's stuff like this. This is just, it's anarchy. It's beyond terrorism, in my opinion. It's a disgrace. It's disgusting. And the Trump administration, you need to do more. You need to stop this. You need to put a stop to this because people think that they have the right. You can protest. That's fine. You can protest across the street, but you cannot stop people from doing their job. You cannot impede them from doing their job. That's where I'm at. Okay, let's continue. All right. So this next one, a mother hides camera in her son's hair, in son's hair, to expose school abuse allegations. So on May 13th, after being denied permission to observe Simha's class at Louisville's Field Elementary, Lee reviewed the hidden cameras audio and heard an assistant teacher yelling aggressively, using phrases like "get off me, boy," amid sounds of physical contact and her son's screams. Jeffrey County Public Schools placed Robert Ransall on leave and launched investigations with Child Protective Services and District Police. While Principal Deb Rivera assured families of a thorough review, Lee, speaking at a school board meeting and press conference, vowed to be her son's voice, fueling parent calls for classroom cameras to protect nonverbal children. So I'm assuming her child might be autistic, nonverbal. So it says Kentucky mother hides camera in her nonverbal autistic son's hair after suspecting he was being abused at the elementary school. That's so sad. And that does happen a lot more than people think. Tiffany Lee says she suspected something was off when she received complaints about her son's behavior at school.
This is the camera I hid. As his mother, I knew in my heart something was not right. I ordered a camera to be my son's eyes, his ears, his voice. I secretly hid the camera in his hair and sent him off to school on May 13th. And when I said I hid it, this is the camera I hid. So let's be clear.
Get off me now. Get off me now.
I stand before you, not just as a mother, but as my son's voice, Samaj Lee. And standing with me is his father, James Baker. While I will be the only one speaking today, we stand united as parents, fighting together for our son.
That's right.
Our son has severe nonverbal autism, meaning he cannot speak. People say they want the facts. What can you ask him if he cannot speak? But I can. I am his voice, and I will speak for him. We trusted his school to protect him, to care for him, and to treat him with dignity. Instead, he was harmed, silenced, and failed by the very people who were supposed to keep him safe. What I discovered on the camera footage is something no parent should ever have to ever see or hear. Our child was put in a situation where he was scared, overwhelmed, and powerless. And while this was happening, there was adults in the room who did nothing to stop it. This is unacceptable. So today, we are demanding accountability and change. I'm calling for a full, immediate investigation. Every teacher, every staff member who has access to my son must be interviewed. There needs to be a complete and honest review of what is happening inside these classrooms. We are demanding that the individual actually who assaulted our son be terminated immediately. Yes. And prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And not just him. Any staff member who witnessed this abuse and chose to stay silent must also be terminated. Silence is not a face of abuse, and just to be quiet and keep it going, it's you being complicity. My son has severe nonverbal autism. He cannot speak, but I can. I am his voice, and I will speak for him. And this cannot stop with my son. We are calling for a Samaj law, a policy that requires cameras in a classroom that serves nonverbal and vulnerable children. Our children deserve protection, transparency, and accountability at all times, not just when something goes wrong. No parent should have to question whether their child is safe at school. No child should suffer in silence because they cannot speak. My son deserves justice, and we will not fight. I will not stop fighting until he gets it, until no other child has to change or has to go through this. I am his voice, his eyes, his ears. He cannot speak, but I will speak for him. Justice for Samaj.
Yeah. And we're definitely praying for that mom. Because, see, what we don't realize is that this kind of thing happens a lot, especially to children with special needs. And it shouldn't be happening, but it is. And there has to be some accountability, period. So we're definitely praying for that mom, that family, that little boy. Because, from here on out, he's going to be afraid. And he already can't speak. And to the other part of it, there are a lot of nonverbal children in the past, I want to say decade. What's causing this? That should be the bigger question we should be asking. Why can't our children speak? And when they can't speak, why can't they read and write? And they're being sent to school, public education, foreign education that they're not getting. So something has to give and something has to be done. And it is our job as the citizens of this country to make sure that it's fixed and the rights are wrong and the wrongs are steered in the correct way, I should say. And Chloe Matthews, thank you so much for joining. She says, hey, back to you. And JJ 1989, thank you so much for joining this morning, JJ. He says, good morning, peace and blessings. Good morning to you. Now, this next video I wanted to get into is from Ashley. You guys may have seen her on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube. And she's talking about some things that were put in place after World War II. I wasn't aware of this. She gives some really good historical information in her video. So definitely check her out and give her a follow.
2 planning documents, old housing files, census reports, urban renewal notes, that sort of thing. And I found something that made me stop and go, wait, what? Because while this country was celebrating the post-war boom, the federal government was quietly tracking where Black families built wealth. Not to support it, not to expand it, of course. Just to keep an eye on it. So let me explain what was actually happening. Right after World War II, several federal agencies, they started making maps and reports about where Black middle-class neighborhoods were forming. Not poor neighborhoods, middle-class ones. This included the FHA, the old HOLC system, which, by the way, their redlining maps were still influencing decisions being made, the Census Bureau, the Department of Commerce, and city planning boards. And what were they tracking, right? They wanted to know where Black families were buying homes, where Black-owned businesses were growing, where Black income was rising, where Black professionals were moving. So basically, mapping Black prosperity. And the language in these reports, you know it wasn't positive. You'll see phrases along the lines of Negro income concentrations, areas of rising Negro prosperity, shifts in racial stability. And once those neighborhoods were identified, the pattern just becomes obvious. In cities across the country, Detroit, Chicago, DC, Atlanta, St. Louis, and plenty more, Black middle-class neighborhoods were flagged as risks to the existing racial balance. And after those neighborhoods were flagged, here's what tended to follow. Highways cut straight through them. Zoning changed to block business growth. Mortgage access tightened. Schools gerrymandered. Urban renewal targeted those areas. These weren't random decisions. They showed up right after the mapping. What the planners were worried about wasn't poverty. It was Black stability, Black families using the GI Bill, Black home ownership going up, Black business districts getting strong. Black upward mobility to them meant political power, voting power, economic influence. And the planning documents read like they were trying to keep that from growing too fast. So here's the part that made it click for me. By the 1950s, these maps were being used to justify decisions that were made to break apart Black neighborhoods, thriving Black neighborhoods, highway reconstruction, redevelopment, denial of loans, neighborhood clearance, school lines drawn to keep districts unequal. Not because the neighborhoods were failing, though, because they were succeeding. Planning boards literally described Black middle-class areas as something that needed to be managed before they influenced nearby white suburbia. So here's the real takeaway. Black prosperity after World War II wasn't something that the government just noticed. It was something they monitored. Different decade, different wording, same pattern. Track it, limit it, redirect it, contain it. And once you understand that pattern, a lot of what we see in modern housing just starts to make more sense.
Yeah. When I saw that video, I was like, whoa, it's pretty heavy. Because until this day, they continue to tell the Black community, and I'm going to say the American Negro specifically, why aren't you doing better? Why are your neighborhoods so horrible when we're doing okay? It's a question, and it's a fair question to ask, but always interesting to me. Now, I'm going to play a video. This is from Alex Jones. I'm not going to play the whole video because it's about an hour, but I will put it in the link to the repost. But I wanted to share some of the information in here with you guys and just it's a question, right? Now, the title of the video is Learn How Gates, the WEF, the UN have launched a plan to literally colonize your body.
Thousands of studies, reports. We knew day one what it was, a race immune system. We saw the immediate death spike when they started the shot. We saw the head scientists say, oh, this is great. It's going to raise your immune system. We're going to make all this money. James O'Keefe 3 years ago got the head of Pfizer mRNA to admit, oh, we created the viruses. We can always roll them out. I mean, we know what they're doing, and we already have the mortality numbers of a bunch of countries showing this. But it is interesting to have even more information coming out, Jesse.
Yeah, and my point here is the reason why we're wanting to show that is this is premeditative no matter how we look at it. Whether you wanted to call it first-degree murder on a global scale or a war crime, the bottom line is we're all being lied to, and everyone out there who is just sitting back and not standing up, I don't believe they truly understand the seriousness of the situation, because once they release 6G is an ideal medium for this graphene oxide that is in the vaccines and our ecosystem and the silicon-based materials that makes us a node. That is when you're going to lose your cognitive liberty. DARPA, all of the studies, the white papers are saying they are at that level. They will be able to read and write to the human neurology. And when that happens, then you have complete control of a society. And that means that your children will never know what freedom is. This is a direct assault. I was hopeful that this administration would be forthcoming and help those victims, the hundreds of thousands of victims that we have here in the States, but it is not looking very promising. It is my understanding that President Trump recently pushed forward for glyphosate to be legalized and not banned in any way, shape, or form. And
well, he signed a national security directive and executive. He signed a national security directive and executive order saying it has total liability protection. So that's a fact. And you have Tulsi Gabbard resigning. You have just Trump in the last year has gone completely sideways. And it's all come out in court that they know this stuff erases your immune system, glyphosate, all of it. They're bombarding us with stuff that basically kills us. And so what you're saying is MK Ultra was gone from low-level test, beta, to mass rollout, to poisonous, to implant us with all this stuff that can be energized and controlled. Bill Gates, all of them have the patents, and now it's here. But then why do we suddenly see congressional hearings about it getting canceled? Well, at least the hearings were coming up, Church 2.0. There does seem to be a lot of interest in this, but will it be a day late and a dollar short for you, Matt?
Now, I'm going to pause it right there. I wanted to interject for just a second. Remember, I don't know if people are aware of this, but they keep talking about a zombie apocalypse happening. Zombies. Just remember, a zombie can walk around amongst us. You may not even know that you're next to a zombie until you try to interact with them. Have you ever seen somebody on their phone and they're so engaged in their phone that they look at you with this dead stare? Because their mind is just so engrossed in somewhere else, right? Have you ever seen people like walk into things because they're on their phone while they're walking? We already have zombies. So imagine now things that are put in place to cause a level of frequency that can literally take over your mind. Anybody remember seeing the movie The Kingsman? Yeah, that kind of stuff. You know, we look at it for entertainment. We're like, wow, that could never happen. Yes, it can. And it is. It's just happening at a lower level. So.
I think so. If they do not allow that hearing to even take any traction whatsoever into where they will hold someone accountable, nothing is going to change, and we are behind the eight ball. That is basically where we're at, and so that's why it's imperative that platforms like you tout the truth. We need soldiers. We need true American patriots to stand up for what this country was founded upon. You know, the American dream is basically being confiscated by foreign influence and a bunch of corrupt officials who are just greedy and selfish.
You're absolutely right. And you know, looking at this, I got some more clips we're going to get to, and then bring in your associates to talk about that and some of the new developments here. But before we do that, let's some of these other clips. Dr. Peter McCullough, great patriot, top doctor, talking about the mRNA vax and CIA whistleblower outlines alleged COVID cover-ups, demands real accountability. James Erdeman III delivers his opening statements, U.S. Senate hearing, alleging retaliation against investigators and failures to protect whistleblowers, while urging Congress to impose stricter oversight on intelligence agencies. He points out that Event 201, months before COVID mirrored it, it's basically an inside job. And then Dr. Nick Begich on how they hack your brain. What a great scientist and researcher he is. Let's play those clips back to back and then bring in our other guests with you.
80% of Americans took a vaccine. 20% didn't. 20% did not take a vaccine. The vaccine was never safe enough for me to take. Messenger RNA devised by Pfizer and Moderna has been chemically modified to be unassailable to enzymes in the body to be broken down. The messenger RNA is found in the human heart of people who die after the vaccine. It's found in the brain. The spike protein is found everywhere in the body. 3 studies now show the spike protein is circulating in the blood for 6 to 9 months after people take the shot. This part of the virus, the lethal part of the virus in the vaccinated, it's circulating in the blood. And then they take a booster, they get more circulating in the blood. It is a killer protein. It cannot be safe. It was not safe by design. Safety trumps efficacy. We cannot tolerate.
I don't know how that chair holds your weight. That is what my mother-in-law told me at my wedding dinner.
Yeah, so I will stop it right there. Sorry about that. But yeah. Yeah. What the part I was trying to find it, because you know they don't have what is it called, like subtitles, and not subtitles, the transcript of it, so I can actually find what I needed. But what I wanted to share with you guys is something else that's brought up in the video. You can watch the video later. It's about an hour. It's actually really interesting. And there was it's called HR 34, 21st Century Cures Act. Now, this was actually passed before Trump took office. So this was done at the end of 2016. And it became law on December 13th of 2016. So this was during Obama's presidency. So in summer, it has innovation projects and state responses to opioid abuse. Okay. And the NIH must support prize competitions to fund areas. But a lot of what we saw in Event 201 is actually based off of this bill right here. And it outlines some different things under HHS. So in Section 221, it says the bill establishes the next generation of researchers innovative in the NIH to promote, provide, and improve opportunities for new researchers and earlier research independence. So when Fauci, if everybody remembers, he was on camera saying, you know, Trump's going to have to deal with some things he didn't think he would need to deal with, like a pandemic. And it's interesting how this was put in place right before Trump took office. So in here, you're going to find a clause. And like I said, I'll put this in the repost and outline it. But pretty much from that video, the gentleman was stating that there's a place in here which states that the federal government can actually do research on all of us, citizens, without our consent. And if it, unfortunately, it does, I'm paraphrasing when I say this, allegedly, when if it does lead to death, they won't be held liable because death is something that's an everyday occurrence from their research. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when everything happened during 2020, right, when all that stuff came about, unfortunately, they were able to release products, right, saying that they were trying to help stop what was going on, even though they were the masterminds behind it. And that's been proven. It's in testimony. It's out there. And even though it led to, unfortunately, people becoming unalived, under this act, it protected the researchers. It protected the companies that did this. I know people are upset that Fauci, what was it? I can't find my words today. I'm sorry. But basically, the time clock, the statute of limitations ran out on them actually holding him accountable. But in my opinion, could they have held him accountable when he was working under this bill that is in place right now? Those are questions that we all should be asking. And again, like I said, I will outline this and when I do my post of the show and let you guys know the particular section that you need to check out and read for yourself and make sure that you're reading and studying all these things, because right now things are moving so fast. We have wars, we have rumors of wars, we have all of these things going on. But the reason why I do this show is to remind us all that God is greater than any of these things going on. Always. And our hope is where our strength lies. And our faith. So don't give up. All right. So that will do it for today for Tell It All Tuesday. And we will be back tomorrow with Women in Wellness Wednesday. And so remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.